Hey, it's Rachel Cooke, your modern mentor. I'm the founder of Lead Above Noise, where we help leaders activate performance and engagement without burning out. Whether it's boot camps, keynotes, or pulse checks, we design solutions that create meaningful change. If your organization is experiencing major change or could stand to amplify its performance and engagement, shoot me a note. I'd love to be your partner. So I recently wrapped another cohort of my activation boot camp. What I love most about these is that I get to help leaders shift perspective, to take action and to build a new sense of confidence while also driving meaningful change within their teams. And that perspective shift really is the key, because leaders see their team struggling, maybe with overwhelm or burnout or lack of clear priorities or collaboration challenges, whatever it may be. And leaders, by and large, they want to help, but they just don't always know how. And it can feel really disempowering. So we start in every boot camp by taking a step back and reframing the challenge. Asking ourselves, not what are our teams telling us they need, but what do we think they actually need? Professional development is a great example of this. So in this most recent cohort, teams were clamoring for more development, and leaders felt really hampered because budgets had been spent and programming had already been designed. So how, they were asking, are we supposed to give our teams the development that they need and want? Now, here's where the shift, the reframe came in. Because while our teams may be asking for formal learning and coaching programs, what really is development? Programs are one vehicle, but development is fundamentally about opportunities to build skills, to demonstrate competence, to be challenged to think bigger, to be more innovative and creative in how we deliver impact. So we asked ourselves, where are the informal, hidden opportunities to drive more development? And here are some of the ideas the group came up with. Let me know if anything resonates for you. The first was a focus on customer impact over action plans. So one insight these leaders had during our program is that we tend to focus so intently on the routine of executing, we lose sight of the chance to think differently about what will best serve the customer. The customer, by the way, may be an external end user of the product or service, or it may be a team within the company. For HR, legal, finance, often the customers are internal. But still, thinking about products and services through the lens of how they'll be served, it's a huge chance to grow and develop. So leaders started challenging themselves to change the conversations in meetings. Instead of just asking team members things like, are we on track to deliver on time? Or do we know which decisions need to be approved by whom? They started asking more expansive questions like, how will this approach enable our customer to be successful? And is there a way to have an even bigger impact? Are we addressing and solving their problems, or are we just creating something we love? Is there a way to make this simpler, cleaner, or more user-friendly? And is there something we can imagine them wishing for? And if so, how might we deliver it? Because these boot camps are designed for leaders to generate ideas and then go out and test them and then come back together and talk about how it went, I get to see the progress and the reflection happening. By asking some of these questions of their teams, leaders in the cohort reported more hints of innovation and more signs of engagement. Their thinking was challenged and stretched. And of course, these leaders were all intentional in labeling these moments as development, actually saying to their teams things like, I love how we're able to develop each other, to really push the envelope on our creativity in these conversations by focusing on the customer. The next was connecting task to professional goal. Another insight was the power of delegating things with more intention. So one leader in the cohort runs a finance team. A lot of their work involves crunching data in really detailed spreadsheets and tables. And he confessed that he often hesitates to delegate this work because, in his words, it's a real soul sucker. But when we pulled back and looked at the bigger picture, he realized that one member of his team is actually hoping for a promotion into a leadership role with a pretty big analytic component. And doing this work might actually help her effectively prepare for that promotion. He realized that by delegating this work to her and helping her see how it can play a role in furthering her own career goals, it's a meaningful development opportunity for her. It's all about that mindset shift. The next one is protecting space and time. We also had a lot of conversation about how official development programs get time on the calendar, but informal development time, not so much. So we chose to play with that because we all know what gets scheduled gets done. So leaders just started putting blocks on the calendar for themselves and their teams, an hour a week to start, some bumping up to 2 or more. But the point being, this became time to focus just on learning. Whether they chose to do it alone or together, it was a window for consuming information, reflecting on insights, and committing to action as a result. During the course of this bootcamp, I watched one team start to experiment meaningfully with incorporating AI into their workflows. I saw another intentionally boost their presentation skills through group discussion and coaching. And I saw a third do a deep dive into customer data to seek out insights to inform their work going forward. Development can look however we need it to, formal or not. It just needs time and space to come alive. The fourth idea that came up was passing the baton. When I asked these leaders to reflect on what helped them to gain confidence in leading, do you know what they said? Basically, just doing it. So much of what we need to learn, we learn not by learning, but by doing. And so these leaders agreed that an amazing development opportunity they could offer their teams was just the chance to lead in small, contained situations. Leaders started choosing meetings to invite one team member at a time to plan and run. They started choosing projects a team member might be ready to lead, and the impact showed up pretty quickly. And of course, again, they were mindful to label these things development. We had lots of other ideas arise as well, but the broader point here is this. Whatever challenge your team is facing, there are always things within your locus of control that you can implement to create positive change. If you'd like to explore an activation bootcamp in your workplace, if your leaders could use a boost of insight, tools, confidence, and camaraderie, shoot me a note at rachel@leadabovenoise.com and we'll book a chat. For now, though, I hope one of these ideas resonated with you and you'll see how your own team responds. Join me next week for another great episode. Until then, visit my website at leadabovenoise.com if your workplace could use an activation boost, whether it's a bootcamp, a keynote, or a pulse check. You can follow Modern Mentor on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Thanks so much for listening and have a successful week. Modern Mentor is a quick and dirty tips podcast. It's audio engineered by Dan Firabend. Our director of podcasts is Brandon Getchis. Our podcast and advertising operations specialist is Morgan Christensen. Our digital operations specialist is Holly Hutchings. Our marketing and publicity associate is Davina Tomlin. And our marketing contractor is Nathaniel Hoops.